Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Deep Dive. This week I've got a special guest all the way from Spain. He used to work in Las Vegas doing a big show out there, and recently he's been releasing some of his favourite effects. We've had a few of them in stock. All of them have been very commercial and great sellers. His latest effect is a great effect that it's sort of based on the field deck type plot. So we'll get into that in a moment. But before we get started with this interview, if you haven't done so already, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be notified every single time we go live on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so already, follow us on Instagram, TikTok and Facebook, because Harry puts up new videos every single day. So without further ado, let's introduce our very special guest for today, Mr. Adrian Vega.
Hello, Peter. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's very good, very good. I am so happy to be with you here and with all our friends. So thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving us the time, because I know you're a very busy performer, you're a creator, but I wanted, for anyone that doesn't really know your background, before we get into the trick, I wanted to speak about you, because you are someone that literally lives magic. Everything you do, you know, it's your job. You're a full-time professional magician.
Exactly.
And you worked in Vegas for a while as well. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so that is the thing. I am so happy because, as you told me, but first I have to say again, sorry for my English. I said to you, but now I want to say to my friends.
Your English is perfect. Don't worry.
YouTube. But saying that, you are right. No, I am so happy because my magic is my job, is my hobby, is my passion. So everything is together, because you can have a job that could be not your passion. No, even if you are working for a lot of years. No, I meet some magicians that they are professional magicians, but maybe they lost a little bit of love. So for now, I am so happy because I have everything. No, I have my job, I still have my passion, I have my love in magic. So I am doing that. No, and as you said, I was working in Las Vegas for 4 years, and I was working there with Chris Angel, because he produced a show like 6-7 years ago, and he took some magicians from different places. I was working with Banachek. Do you know Banachek?
Yeah, I know Banachek. Great guy.
Banachek, yes, very nice, very great mentalist. No?
Yeah.
So we have like a different point, no? Like I was the close-up guy, Banachek was the mentalist. We have a manipulator, an escape artist, no? So it was this kind of shows, like gala shows. And we was doing a USA tour, and I was so happy because it was a nice experience, no? Working in a big production with 3 trailers, with 30-40 people working around you. So it was a super nice experience.
And was that a touring show, or was that based in Las Vegas? Was it only in Vegas?
No, we started doing all the rehearsals in Las Vegas, and we do the premiere in Las Vegas for 1 month or something like that. But then we start moving the show, because the idea of Chris and the company was doing a touring show, because he was working still at the Luxor. So he wanted to be his own show in Las Vegas and another show touring for USA, no, the first time. And the idea was doing more cities, but we did the USA tour. And it was nice because we was working and rehearsing a show for 6 months, working every day for 8 hours. So I have never worked 8 hours a day. For that reason, I am magician, because I don't want to work. No. I am kidding. No, but it was a nice experience because we were working a lot, 5 days a week, no, 8 hours, working just for one show during 6 months. No, so imagine how work was behind the show. No, for us as a magician, and for the crew, and for the director. So everything, we were a team, so we learned a lot.
Yeah. So Is it only close up you do? You do stage as well, don't you? You do illusion.
Yeah, exactly. I do. I don't do illusion now in Spain. I was doing some illusion in that show too, because we had like a two parts of the show. One
Right.
part that we was doing our act, not like a close-up guy, like a mentalist, and the
Yeah.
second part was like the best illusions for Chris, but we were doing as a team, no, like maybe
Yeah.
two magicians. We were doing one part, another magician they were doing another illusion. So I was doing that, but now in my main job, during when I work for magician and I do magic for magician, I do mostly close up. But when I work for normal people, I mean normal people are normal, but you mean lay people.
Lay people, yeah.
So, lay people, I do a lot of stage magic, even because I was working in cruise ship too. So I have a few shows stage, no parlor, like a stage, no illusion either.
Yeah.
But it's more like a stage and like a solo show. No, I do a couple illusions, but this is even I think I work more doing a stage than close up. But when I am doing things for magician, I don't know. Maybe because when the first time that I performed for magicians was in a national competition here in Spain, and I do a card magic. No, I do close up because I had some ideas that I wanted to share, and then because I won the first prize here, I start moving between magician, but I start only doing close up. So so now a lot of magician friends, they only know me as a close up guy, but I do a lot of stage too.
Yeah, that's great. So there's something you said earlier that does intrigue me, because how do you keep the passion alive? How do you keep, because it is a very serious question, because I think when people do magic for a hobby, we love it. We're consumed by it. It's something we want to do every minute, every day. As soon as you start doing it for a job, it's very easy to fall out of that passion, and now it's work. So how do you keep the passion going?
Yeah, because sometimes if you start as a working, sometimes you have another problems, like maybe you have to get money, you have to get a lot of shows that maybe you don't like it, and you have to do it. So if you do all these things, and if you feel these things in a long time, you can lose the passion, no? And I think in my case, I learned a lot, no, like a lot of magicians, no, from Juan Tamarit, no. I studied with him when I was 12 years old. Yes, I was in his school, and I learned a lot of things, no, from him, obviously. But I learned how to love magic, no, and because when you talk with him, now with his 80 years old, no more, so he still have his passion, and when you talk with him, you can feel that, no, and it's like a great example. No example.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Like you say, if this guy that he's a legend, he did everything and he still loves magic, it has to be a reason, no? So when you start in magic and you feel that when you are a kid, you never forget this, no? I think in my case, I say if one day I will not love magic in the way that I love now, I prefer to do another thing, no? Because I am doing magic because I am happy with that. If I am not happy doing magic, I will try to look for another thing. No, maybe it's not selfish. It doesn't make sense. It's not by this kind of selfish in the way that I am happy doing that, and for that reason, because I am happy, I want to share that happiness with my audience, with other magicians. But if I am not happy, I think I will try to look for another thing or try to quit. No. And in my case, I was lucky enough, no, because now I can choose the shows that I want to do, no. I don't want to do a lot of shows because I won. No, I try to choose the shows that I am really feel happy doing it, no.
Yeah.
So in that case, I am also lucky with that, but I have in my mind always is I am doing this because I am happy with that. And when I started doing magic, I started because magic makes me happy, no?
Yeah.
So if this change, everything will change. No?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I explained properly.
No, you did.
But
you explained it perfectly, and it's something that a lot of magicians go through. They go through this point where, you know, they tend to, the balance goes between the love and the work, and it changes. And I went through it as well, where I, you know, loved it, and then not that I didn't love it, I still loved magic, but the passion went, and then the passion came back. And I think it was because I started giving myself more time to learn what I enjoyed learning, rather than saying, okay, I need to learn this because we need to sell it. I need to learn this. I was looking at stuff and going, actually, I've always wanted to learn that. I'm not going to sell it. It's just something for me. And then that's where the passion came back. So I think it's very important to have time for yourself to learn what you want to learn. That's where it brings the passion and the excitement back, I think. But
exactly,
for you,
this is the thing, no? Like a choice wherever you feel happy with this, no? Because if you are just, because at the beginning if we want to be professional, no? At least in my case, I had to do it. I did kids shows that I don't do kids shows now because I don't like it, but it's because I am not a good kid magician. And I know that there are a lot of great kid magicians that they will do better, no? But when I started, I was doing like a lot of shows, and it's a way to learn a lot too. But when you are being more or becoming more professional, it's the same that you know, that you want to choose what you want to learn. Yeah. So it's the same that when you are performing, I don't want to perform, maybe, I don't know, for say something, a big show with illusion because I will make more money if that show makes me not happy, no?
Yeah.
So I want to, again, if I choose what I want to learn, I try to choose what shows I want to do, or try to focus on that show. No, I mean, I want that my career will be for magicians, so I will do and I will work that way. It's not my case. No, I share magic with magicians because I love what I do again. But my main job is working for lay people, and I put my energy for doing like a corporate gigs, magic for adults in an intimate shows or stage shows when I travel, no? But try to choose and try to make be honest with yourself, no?
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I totally agree with that, and that also feeds the passion when you're out and you're working to lay people and you get those reactions. That's, for me, that feeds the passion as well. It makes me think, do you know what? They've really enjoyed themselves. I've enjoyed it because they've enjoyed it, you know? And it's like a two-way thing. But it's I never knew that you had Juan Tamariz as a teacher. I mean, there's no better teacher in the world, I shouldn't think.
Exactly. No, he had in fact, his daughter, she has a school for maybe 30 years or more in Madrid, here in Spain. So I started when I was 12. Like I was studying there for 3-4 years. Every single week, I went to that school, and I was learning from Tamariz, from Alberto de Figueiredo, for Luis Piedrahita, a lot of magicians that they are from Spain, but they are also great. And everything was directed for Juan, no? So imagine what we learn, no? That I said before, I learned a lot of magic, a lot of technique, a lot of history, but the thing that I really keep now after 20 years, maybe, is the love and how to respect our art, no? This is what the most thing that I learned from Juan and from that school.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So let's move on now from performing to creating, because you've had a few tricks out recently. You did a big penguin lecture a few years ago, which got lots of really good reviews. And I think that's mostly where I first heard about you. And then you released a trick with penguin. I can't remember the name, but it was the card that was the only red card in the blue deck.
What was that? Yeah, that was like a invisible soul, but
that's it.
I just did the presentation, no, because there was a whole plot. Even I think they told with the first guy who published the method.
Well, so it was us, actually. It was Alakazam. Yeah, they approached us.
Adrian,
we had a trick called Eraser many years ago, which
by
was the
Adrian
same.
too, right?
Pardon?
By Adrian, by a
Yes.
guy called Adrian too, right?
Adrian Gower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
totally...
Penguin got in touch with me and said, "Oh, do you mind?" And I said, "No, sure, do it." And it was a great trick. We sold a lot of Invisible Soul. Brilliant presentation, great trick. Was that your first release?
No. I released, like, I think, like, even before the Penguin Live, I released with Murphy's a trick called Scandal, that he was like a any number, but with I don't know if we can talk about method, but
yeah, you can.
Not too much. Okay, it's like a kind of rough and smooth, but in a very backwards way. I will not say too much, but it's a backwards way. So I feel like maybe now already 8-9 years ago, and even now Christian Grace, that he has another version called Miracle One. He used some kind of method. So yeah, the same. Manisin asked me, and I say, of course, this is for sharing. No, so it's already. If he had another version, I am so happy too with that. So this is our point, no? Sharing magic to try to keep creating and keep moving, no? The magic around.
Yeah.
So yes, we already share a few things, but as I told you before, I don't feel like a creative magician. I am not here in my studio and say what I want to create today.
Yeah.
Then I cannot do that because I don't feel like a creative. No, I feel like a performer, like a real worker. That sometimes I do interpretations about the tricks that I am doing for years, and I say, oh, maybe I need this, but in a most practical way for me, because for me it's nothing. I don't think another magician. No, when I create, I do versions. I do for me because I need it for my kind of shows, or I need it for my style of presentation. And after years, I say, okay, I have this. I don't know if maybe you like it. So some magicians like it, other magicians they don't like it, obviously. But when I share it, I say, okay, there are some people that they can use it too, and they are happy with this. So I am happy sharing with that. No, but it's not a way like, oh, I want to be creative. No, it's another. It's not it's the point. No, sometimes I create because I need it. No.
Yeah.
I do versions because I need it for my shows. No?
Yeah, I said exactly the same thing on an interview I did with Craig Petty, and it was the same thing. I'm exactly the same as you in that way. I can't sit down and create. When I create, it's because I want it for me, or I look at something and go, wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that? Or, exactly. Yeah. So, and I think that's a really good way of creating, because we're creating it out of a passion for being able to do what we want with this effect. And it's only once we've done it, we've worked it, we've tried it, and then we go, do you know what? Maybe other people will like what we've done. Maybe they're looking for the same thing we were looking for. I think that's a great way to do it. So the trick that we're going to talk about today is a brand new release of yours, and I'm a big fan of this plot anyway. You know, the field deck, and it goes way before the field deck as well. Yeah, and I've always been a lover of it, and it's a very good commercial plot. It's a really good commercial plot. I mean, when you do this sort of routine at a close-up gig, the reactions to it are very, very strong, because it's got that moment of confusion with the name and what does the name mean and everything else. But then you've got a really good reveal with it. So did you come up with this the same sort of way? You were playing with the field deck or something similar, and you thought, you know what?
I can mix this, no?
Yeah.
So yes, in my case I was doing the first part of the method of this trick, no? Because as you say, no, this is even older than the field deck. Even in the tutorial, I share all some of the guys that he started working with that. And first, I have like 2 ways, no, that I combine to doing this plot. That is the plot that I was doing in the last years, no. First, because as you said, no, this plot for me, I love it, and I was doing in different gigs. In my case, I was doing the version that I used 2 decks. This was an old
which
version,
was the original. I think that was the original version, was to have 2 decks.
2 decks, no? And depending on the card that they say, you remove one of the other, no? So I was doing that, and it was great. Even in parlor, in stage, I was doing for years. But I say, I don't want, because I am lazy too. Okay, I have to tell you, I am lazy, and I say I want to carry just with one. So I have that idea in my mind, but I forgot, no? And I was doing another things and whatever. And like I think almost 10 years ago, when I was doing the competition ad, I had an idea that was my opener. Even I share that in the Penguin, and now we will release as a product too in maybe next year. But it's the opener, and I use one part of the method. It's the same because I use one gag to try to force in a natural way one kind of numbers. So, so I was doing that for years with different method, different trick, but the same similar first concept, no? And I was doing that and was working great, and I feel like the spectator, they forgot the force. No, it's not the force, no, the selection, no, the force selection. They forgot because they joke in that case. And I say it's the same that Juan Tamarit say. I don't know how it's say in English, but it's the efecto cometa. Efecto cometa is when you do a trick and the spectator, and all the things that you do, they are doing because you want to put in his mind the thing that you want to remember.
Remember.
So more or less, no, sorry. But so I say, okay, I was doing that, and I feel like a spectator, they forget this part, so maybe I can use this in another way. And I was using in different kind of plot, also to do an invisible, blank invisible versions too, because in a very natural way, I force a group of cards, but in a very, as I said, very natural, and they already feel like it's a totally freely selection in this case, no? So I say, okay, I have this method. I had the idea in my mind that I want to use only one deck. So let's try if I mix both, if work or not. So I mix them, and I feel like work in the same way that work in my other last tricks that I was doing. So I say, okay, so I think I have one approach to this classic effect. And I was doing, and I feel like exactly the people, they remember that was a 52 different selection because the presentation, because the script, and because all the psychology, no, behind this concept, no. And I was so happy with that. And I was doing in close up, even in parlor when I throw balls, and I do the same. You know the method, right? You know everything.
Yeah. I know
but,
I know.
So
the
when
method.
I throw, I say, I don't want to expose a lot, no, but.
No.
But do you understand what I mean? No?
Yeah, 100%. I was speaking to a friend of mine this morning, and I said I was going to be interviewing you, and I was talking to him about the trick. And I spoke about the selection procedure you use. And what you said there was exactly what I said to him. Now, the original, to my knowledge, was a card called Fred. That was the 2 decks.
Fred, exactly.
And you could
in
choose...
1930, right? 1930, like a 100 also.
And you could choose any playing card, but you were carrying 2 decks. Then there was the field deck that came out, which meant you could name any playing card, but then you're carrying 1 deck. But then there's a trade-off because the deck you're carrying is a thin deck and everything else. Your version, even though it's not any named card, the perception when they think back will be any card. And I was saying this to a friend of mine this morning, who's a magician. We were discussing it, and I said that it's very interesting because you watch it, and when I saw the trailer, I didn't obviously understand what was going on. I watched the explanation. I thought, do you know what? That's so clever, because when they think back, there's no reason why they won't think I could have named any card. It will feel like they could name any card in the pack. And the benefit of your version in my mind is you're using regular, or not regular, but you're using bicycle cards
and a few normal cards, no, that the spectator they touch, they feel like a normal, and we don't need more, no. I don't need like, oh, check, this is a normal. Like, no, if we perform the attitude, no, again, it's the attitude, no. If the attitude is natural, and I say, touch, it's real, and I don't give the card like a touch is a normal deck. No, I assume that. I say touch is printed. They don't delete it, no. So with that excuse, they are feeling that it's a normal deck of cards, and that's it. We don't need more, no. In his mind, it's a normal deck of cards. In his mind, it's a freely selection, and I think because I was doing this for years, it's not like a crazy idea and whatever, no. So I tried this with real audience, and I feel that, no. And nobody told me after the trick like, oh, even in the opener that I told you, I was doing that in the 4Fs. You know the 4Fs?
The 4F convention,
I was doing the same opener during 3 years, and always after my act, a lot of magician, not lay people, magician, they asked me, oh, was incredible that he thought a number, he thought a suit, and was the only card in your hand, and say, oh, yes, was like that. And they forget that is not 52 different cards, there are a little less, but they feel totally free, no?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm happy with this.
And I'm happy that you like it too. I'm happy that you see it the same thing, no?
Yeah, straight away when you understand how magic plays out in a spectator's mind, you can see things and go, do you know what? They'll totally forget that, or this, and that's the other thing I like about these sort of tricks, because there's writing on the back of the cards. There's actually a reason to bring the deck out into play. And there's, you put it away after. You don't have to do a fancy deck switch or anything like that. You just say, I'll tell you what, for this, we're going to try an experiment. We're going to use these. The reason I'm using a different deck of cards is because I've written on the back of all of these. So we're going to try a little experiment with them. And you introduce it naturally. It's a natural prop, which you're only going to use for that effect, but it makes sense. Exactly. I totally love that about routines
the plot,
like this.
No? Yeah. Even in the case, no, because the presentation, the fan presentation is like you said, the names of the card, no, and they say yes, and after that, when you want to remember what you want to make the audience to remember, it's even a little better because you say no, but you say 3, but 3 is the number and clubs is the suit. But the name of the 3 of clubs, no, is whatever, no.
Yeah.
And even when you put the things that you want to remember, they say, "Oh, right," because I thought any number. No, they don't have any question. They say like I was a freely selection, and then everything is matched. No, everything matched.
Yeah, it's great. So I tell you what, Adrian, why don't we have a look at the trailer, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap this all up. But it's great. So let's have a look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called Name It by the fantastic Adrian Vega.
Hi, I am Adrian Vega and welcome to Name It. This is my personal approach to this amazing and classic effect. One spectator will freely think of a card, and that card will be the only card in the deck that matches with your prediction. Take the handy and the deck in your hands from the beginning. I took 52 cards, but every card has a name. Four of spades. Don't show the card yet. Look at this. Different card. Mario, Mia, Luis. So now you can enjoy this amazing effect using just one deck of cards. Nothing else, one deck of cards and one prediction, and everything will match. So welcome to Name It.
It's great.
Sorry for my face, man, and for my English. I was watching that, so sorry.
It's great. It's such a great effect. And I just want to say this as well. The deck itself, it's a gaff deck, so it comes already gaffed, but it's not written on. You talk about different presentations and what pen to use to write on it to make it nice and bold. But the great thing about this is a lot of magicians do trade shows. So you could customize it for a trade show. You could customize it with countries, or if you're doing a big job for a golf company or whatever, you could personalize the deck to do whatever you want. Obviously, once you've written on it, you've written on it. But
yeah, but you can, even if when you know the method, you can make your own maybe, or buy more, whatever you want. No, but this is the thing that I like it too, no, because the field deck is already printed, no, if I remember well.
Yeah.
So even with names, because they are not the same names that we use in Spain, that the names that you can use in America or India or wherever, no? So it's more free if you can use. It takes a little time, but once you do once, it's for forever, no? And as you say, incorporate gigs. I do sometimes with different brands, no?
Yeah,
so the
brands.
company that pay me will be the card, no? With the company name or logo, no? Sometimes I put some stickers, a small sticker with logos. So yeah, it's very, very customizable. Customize. You can customize.
we had an effect out quite a few years ago. It is coming out again actually next year, by Wayne Dobson. Completely different method, but a similar sort of plot line. And the payoff for that was you would have all different celebrities on cards. So, you know, all famous singers and movie stars, and they end up choosing a card, but on their card is your name, like
the name of
Adrian
the
Vega.
Exactly.
And it was called the Celebrity Deck, and I think that's a really funny way and a fun way of doing it. You could choose, this will find your favorite celebrity, the person you most wanted to meet, and it's you, you know, which I think is really good. But I think, Adrian, that brings us to the end of this week's deep dive.
Wow.
You've been great. It's been great to interview you. We've never spoken in person. I am a big fan of your magic, big fan of your work.
Me too, man. Me too, my friend.
And it's great. It's another great trick. It's very commercial. And that's the thing. I think when people buy or see a trick with Adrian Vega, with that name on it, people have to understand that you have worked it. It is a worker. And that's very important.
At least for me, no. This is, I don't pretend to be and to release the best magic trick in the world. No, I don't pretend that, because it's gonna be impossible to.
Yeah.
So in my case, I only try to share things that they works for me, things that they makes me happy when I am performing. As I said at the beginning, and this is my only intention, no, to share things that I really use it and I work with them, no. And there will be magicians that they like it, that they can use it, and they will be magicians that they cannot use it. But this is what I love in magic too, no? Make it things different, and everybody has to be a little bit different, no? So I only share my passion with all of you, and thank you, Peter, for having me here, man. Really appreciate it.
It's been great to have you on. So, ladies and gentlemen, the fantastic Adrian Vega. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. See you.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this week's deep dive. And before you go off, if you haven't done so already, Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time we go live with a new video on the channel. So I'm Peter Nardi. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Please leave your comments below as well. I love to know what you're thinking of the show, and I will see you next Sunday for another deep dive, and hopefully on Tuesday for the Alexam Live. Until then, have yourselves a great week.